So this story I'm about to tell you guys is probably one of my favorite stories of all time. Like, I look back on this one and I think, wow, I was such an idiot, but like this story time is so funny and crazy and just everything that I think you guys like in my videos. So I hope you enjoy it. Definitely leave a like on the video if you do. And before we get into it, I just gotta say, this video is for entertainment purposes only. Don't be going out and trying anything because you saw one of my videos. And definitely don't repeat any of the actions I talk about in the story for your safety and for your health, please. Anyway, now that that's been said, let's jump into today's story time. So today's story time all takes place back in 2015, okay? Now around this time, I was going through this phase where I was definitely being a little destructive, I would say. Young Luna was going through a breakup. He was heartbroken. He was depressed. He was not feeling like himself. And back then, when I didn't feel like myself and I was sad, I would do really stupid stuff. For example, around this time, I was skipping school a lot. You know, I'd jump on the bus, get to school, and then I just wouldn't walk into school. I'd just leave and go do whatever. I was skipping school a lot. I was hanging out with friends a lot that were also skipping school. And yeah, just all in all, I kind of stopped giving a shit, which is not good, obviously. So anyway, this all starts off like any other day back then. I woke up very depressed at like 6:30 in the morning because, like I said, I was going through a breakup, and I definitely didn't want to go to school while going through that. And yeah, your boy was in a very bad mood. I have a song called that. You should go stream it. It's first link in the description. Anyway, so yeah, I woke up in a horrible mood. I was very, very just depressed, and I just did not want to go to school this day. And I also didn't want to skip, though, because your boy had already skipped like 2 days that week. And my parents were pissed at me. I was already grounded. I didn't have my PC, my Xbox, anything. I couldn't make videos. And obviously I wanted to make videos, so I kind of had to go to school. Otherwise, you know, your boy wouldn't be able to come back to YouTube. So yeah, on this day, I kind of had to care a little bit. So I got my ass up out of bed. I got dressed, got ready for school, jumped on the school bus, went to school, walked into school. I got through like first and second period before I really was just like, okay, I can't do this today. I have to skip. So after second period, I found one of my friends who I would skip with all the time. And I was like, yo, I'm going to leave school early. Do you want to come with? And he's like, dude, you read my mind. And I was like, cool. Anyone else coming? He's like, yeah, I'll ask some people. So before I knew it, this dude had like a group of like 5 or 6 kids that were all just going to leave school early and go do whatever for the rest of the day. And it was so quick. Like, we only had like a few minutes because the next class was literally in like 3 or 4 minutes. So this dude just like texted a couple group chats. And before I knew it, like 2 minutes later, there was like 4 people just there ready to go. And I was like, okay, let's do this. So we just dipped out one of the back doors of the school onto the soccer field, walked into the little bike trail through the woods, and we were out of there in like literally a few minutes. It was crazy. Now, we had no plan. We had nothing to do. I certainly had no plan as well. But I don't know. I just felt like happy to be out of that building. Like, there is no worse feeling than being depressed from a breakup, having no sleep in your system whatsoever, and being in a concrete building that you can't leave for 6 hours with fluorescent lights just beaming on you the whole day. It just feels like hell to me. So yeah, I was happy to be out of there, right? So after we got onto this bike path and like left the school grounds, we were just trying to come up with a plan. We were like, all right, like, what do you guys want to do? Anyone got like a house we can go to? Because like, you know, most of our parents either worked from home or like had weird hours where they would be home soon. But there was this one kid in our group. We'll just call him Kyle. Kyle was like, oh, my mom's not home till like 9 p.m. tonight, bro. Let's go to my house. I don't live far from here either. So we went to Kyle's house. And I didn't even know Kyle. This was the first time I ever met him. But I was like, fuck it, dude. Anything's better than school. That was my mindset. So yeah, we walked to Kyle's house, all of us. We get there. We sit down in his living room. We're just chilling there in the living room, like just kicking it, right? Doing nothing really, just watching TV. And Kyle goes, anyone want to smoke? And all of us are like, yeah, is that even a question? And before we knew it, we were passing Kyle's bowl around, just chilling, enjoying the day that we no longer had to be in school for, right? Well, then like 10, 15 minutes later, another friend of ours, we'll just call him Alex, okay? Alex has an idea that is just not what I expected, and everyone seemed to be pretty down for. Alex is like, yo, I know it's kind of crazy, but like, any of you guys ever do acid before? And at this point, I had done it before, and I was like, yep, I've done it. He's like, yeah, how much? And I was like, a few times. He's like, yeah? So like, you're used to it by now. And I was like, I wouldn't say used to it, but I definitely like know what it feels like, if that's what you're saying. He's like, yeah. Anyone else? And nobody else had tried it before. And Alex is like, well, if any of you want to do it, I have some at my house, and like, I don't live far from here, and my parents won't be home for like an hour. So like, I can get it and we can come back here and do it. And at the time, I was down. This was one of those moments in my life where I just didn't care, and I was just like, dude, fuck yeah, let's do it. Everybody else, on the other hand, was a little bit more skeptical because they hadn't done it, and I totally respect that. I'd say like 80% of our friends were like, yeah, I don't know. And me and Alex just agreed to do it, just us. And if they wanted to jump in, they could. So we went to Alex's house, we got the tabs, came back to Mr. Kyle's house, sat back down in the living room, and before we knew it, I had taken one and he had taken one. And then, like, I don't know, maybe 10 or 15 minutes later, one of our other friends got some FOMO, even though he had never tried it before, and he took one too. So now there was 3 of us out of this kind of like big group of people. And honestly, this was good because if everybody did it, that'd be kind of a shit show. Like, at least with this situation, a few of us did it and like a few of us didn't. And that means that we had some trip sitters, and, you know, if shit went wrong, we had some people that could actually think clearly, so I'm glad it went the way it did. Now, after I took this tab, I had to have a plan, because I had to go home soon, technically. School's letting out in a couple hours, and I did not want to have to, like, go home and see my family, so I called my mom up before it kicked in, and before school was technically let out. So I called her pretending that I was at school, and she answered, like, super pissed off. She's like, why are you calling me? You're supposed to be in school, like, what's going on? And I was like, no, I'm in school. It's okay. Like, I'm here. I just wanted to let you know that I'm staying after. And she was like, for what? Did you get detention or something? And I was like, no, I just have a lot of homework from the days that I skipped, and I don't want to make it up at home because I don't know the stuff. So I'm going to stay after with my teachers and make it up with them. And she didn't question it because, honestly, that shit was true. I needed to be staying after to be doing work, but I didn't. And she's like, all right, cool. When are you going to be home? And I was like, 4:30, maybe 5. She's like, okay, cool. Now, honestly, looking back, I probably didn't even need to be doing all this. I probably didn't need to call her, probably didn't need to lie to her, because she didn't even get home from work until like 8:30 or 9. But I just got worried that one of my brothers would like snitch on me or something, that I wasn't home yet from school when I should have been. So yeah, I just wanted to have a cover story, essentially. So, after I got off the phone with her, me and all my friends were just sitting there in this room, waiting for it to kick in. And then Alex has just an absolutely brilliant idea. And he goes, yo, do you guys want to go to the zoo? And I didn't even have to think about that. I was like, yo, the zoo on acid? Yes. And all my other friends are like, sure. And I was like, wait a minute, Alex, how are we going to get in? It costs money. And like, the zoo wasn't cheap. It was probably like 20 or 25 bucks a person. And at our age, that was expensive as hell. And we definitely didn't have that kind of money. And Alex is like, don't worry, bro. I know how to sneak in. And I was like, are you sure we won't get caught? He's like, nah, dude, there's no wristband system or anything. Like, you just pay at the door and you get let in. They don't like have any way to verify who paid and who didn't once you're in. So, like, bro, I know a way in. There's a little hole in one of the fences, and you just walk right in, bro. Like, I swear, you just walk right through it. And I didn't believe him at first. I was like, dude, no, like, that's a huge zoo. There's no way there's just a giant hole they haven't covered up. Like, that's just crazy. And he's like, bro, I promise you I've done it 100 times. Like, let's go. I'll show you. And I'm like, okay. So before we knew it, we were all on our way to the zoo. It was like a 2-mile walk, but we did not care. We were down for it. So we were just hiking there. Now, before I knew it, we were there. And at this point, I was still feeling pretty good. I didn't really have any like effects coming on yet from the acid. I was just like, fine. And Alex wasn't lying, by the way. He took us around the back of the zoo, and there was this fence that had like a little hole in it that was just big enough to fit people through. So you just kind of had to like crouch down a little bit, and you could just crawl right through. And that's what we did. We just crawled like right through the fence, and we were in. And I was stoked, man. I'm like, yo, we're in the zoo right now. I'm about to start tripping. I'm about to see like red pandas and monkeys and polar bears and penguins. Like, yo, this is insane. So the first thing that one of my friends wanted to do when we got in there is see the giraffes. So we walked over to the giraffe exhibit or whatever, enclosure, and they were just like there, kicking it with their long necks, just enjoying life. Very beautiful. We stood there for about 10, 15 minutes admiring them. And then my other friend wanted to see the penguins. And I really wanted to see the penguins. So I was like, yo, let's go. And right when we got to the little penguin spot, the acid started to kick in. It was coming on super gradually. It wasn't like it came on all at once. I just could kind of feel a little bit of a difference in my overall mood. And also my body. Like whenever I would start to feel acid effects, it would always start in my body first. Like my stomach would get like this tingling, like weird sensation, and then like I noticed I was like more emotional and stuff. That's how it would always start. And then like before I knew it, I would just be full on tripping like 45 minutes later, and it wouldn't feel like 45 minutes later. It'd feel like very quick. So yeah, I felt it coming onto the penguin enclosure, and I was like, okay, I'm starting to feel it a little bit. And I looked at Alex, and he's like, yeah, and I was like, yeah. Now we watched these penguins just like chilling and sliding down their little slide for like 15 minutes. It was beautiful. It was cute. Adorable. It was great. It was a great time, right? And then Kyle's like, I want to see the tiger. So I'm like, okay, let's go see the tiger. So we walked over to where the tiger was. We started watching him through a glass window. We're just chilling. And the tiger isn't doing shit. He was a lazy fucking tiger. This dude was just sitting there, laying down, doing nothing. And honestly, I don't blame him. If I was locked in a fucking enclosure all day and I was a tiger, I'd be pretty pissed. So yeah, he's just laying there, just basically saying, fuck the zoo. And like every 10 minutes, I'm just feeling this acid more and more and more. And I'd say after the tiger exhibit is when like it officially like kicked in. And luckily, when I used to trip, most of the time the visuals were never super strong for me. Sometimes they were. I've definitely talked about that before. But most of the time they weren't. It was always pretty light stuff. Like it was just like, oh, if I looked at a wall, I could see slight patterns and like colors of flowers and like plants and stuff kind of popped a little bit more than they normally would. And overall my mood was just kind of like boosted, and I was a lot more prone to anxiety as well. So like I had to be careful. But for the most part, the trip started off very good on this day. Very gradual. I was feeling pretty good. And after the tiger exhibit, I wanted to go see another animal that I wanted to see because I feel like that would make the trip even better. So I was like, yo, I want to go see the monkeys. I don't know if any of y'all have ever seen a monkey exhibit at a zoo. I'm sure a lot of you have, probably like 99% of you. But the ones at my zoo were hilarious, man. Like they would just like wrestle with each other. And there was this one time where I went with my family and they flamed shit at each other, which is disgusting. But young me thought that was hilarious. So I thought it'd be 10 times funnier on acid. So I want to go to the monkey exhibit. And all my friends were like, yeah, let's go see the monkeys. So we went to the monkey exhibit, right? Or the enclosure or whatever. And we're there and we're just watching them. And they're just, you know, they're chilling. One of them's balancing on this like little ledge, like just perched up, kind of staring at us. And the other few are like just kind of running around, having fun. And it's great. I'm having a great time. Well then, this other friend of ours, I haven't given him a name yet. We'll call this other friend Dylan, okay? Dylan, who didn't do any acid, by the way. So he was completely like, you know, sober, clear-headed, whatever. He walks up to one of the doors on the monkey enclosure and like tries to turn the handle to see if it's unlocked, and it opens. And all of our friends are like, Dylan, what the fuck are you doing? Get back here. Get back. What are you doing? You can't go in there. And he just doesn't listen. He just opens the door and proceeds to walk into the monkey enclosure and close it behind him. And I just could not wrap my head around why he was doing what he was doing. I don't know if he was trying to be funny. I don't know if like he hated life and he wanted to die by monkeys beating him up. I didn't know what it was, but I was like, yo, Dylan has something wrong with his head right now, because I wouldn't even think about doing that. Like, bro, monkeys can fuck you up if they want. I saw a video yesterday on Twitter of a monkey running around with a machete. Like, they are smart animals, and they will hurt you if they need to. So yeah, naturally, none of us liked the idea of one of our friends being in their enclosures. And also, we were trying to not attract too much attention to us because we snuck into the zoo to begin with. And this was attracting a lot of attention to us. A lot of the other zoo goers that were there with like, you know, family and stuff kept looking over because there was a random man, aka Dylan, in the monkey enclosure. And we're screaming at him. We're like, Dylan, get the fuck back here. You're gonna freak the monkeys out. They're gonna beat you up. Like, get back here. And Dylan's like, look, dude, I'm with the monkeys. And I'm yelling. I'm like, Dylan, they will fuck you up if they have to. Do not stay in there. Get out now. And he just keeps inching closer and closer to where this one monkey is like perched up on a ledge. And at this point, we all just kind of gave up on him. We went silent, and I was like, you know what? Dylan's about to get his ass beat by a monkey. And at this point, he kind of deserves it. Now, Dylan gets to be about like, I don't know, 4 feet away from the monkey that's like perched up. And like, he's about to be so close he can touch it, right? And he puts out his hand like he's going in to pet the monkey. And me and Kyle look at each other and I'm like, yo, when he touches that monkey, I bet the monkey beats the shit out of him. And Kyle goes, yeah, the monkey's definitely about to throw hands. And just as his hand is about to touch the monkey, I hear someone go, what are you doing? And we turn around and it's a zoo employee. And he runs up to the door, opens the door to the enclosure, runs in, closes it, runs up to fucking Dylan. He's like, get back from him right now. And he like backs Dylan up. And when the employee grabbed Dylan, the monkey kind of like jumped backwards and got like defensive looking. And the zoo employee put his hand out and he said, it's okay, Clyde. So I'm assuming the monkey's name was Clyde, and Clyde was about to beat the shit out of both of them. Now after he says this, he says, it's okay, Clyde. The zoo employee proceeds to quickly escort Dylan out of the enclosure, open the door, get him the hell out of there, close the door, and then bring Dylan back to us. And after he brings Dylan back to us, he pulls out his little walkie-talkie, the employee, and he says some like code on the walkie-talkie. I don't really know what it meant, but after that he puts the walkie-talkie back in his little like side holster thing, and he's like, just what do you think you're doing? And he looks at Dylan, and Dylan's like, I don't know, I just want to see if I can pet a monkey. And the employee goes, do you see that the monkey is in a giant enclosure, and so are all the other animals here? The reason they're in an enclosure is because they are wild animals and they could hurt you. So you're not supposed to enter the enclosure, and they're not supposed to come out here with all the other people. That's why they're in an enclosure. And he's just like basically telling Dylan he's a fucking idiot, right? And Dylan's like, yeah, I know. I was being stupid. I'm sorry. And the zoo employee is like, yeah, whatever. Come with me. We're going to the security office. We're getting your info. You're not coming back here again. And Dylan's like, no, like, I'm sorry. Like, I won't do it again. And the employee goes, I don't care. You are getting banned. Let's go. And he like grabs Dylan by the arm and starts escorting Dylan to the security office, just leaving me and all my friends just standing there. I thought he was going to want to kick all of us out, but he didn't. And we had two choices. Number one, go be with Dylan and, leave the zoo with him after he gets kicked out and banned. Or two, say fuck Dylan. That's what he gets for trying to pet a wild monkey and ditch Dylan. We chose option two. And I stand by that to this day. Fuck Dylan. Why would you try and pet a wild monkey? As funny and as cool that would have been, that is so stupid, and I'm not letting you ruin my beautiful zoo time. So yeah, me and all my friends just continued to go around the zoo while a few of us were tripping and just check out all the other animal enclosures. I saw polar bears, I saw otters, snakes, all sorts of animals. It was sick, dude. And Dylan just had to wait at the front. He texted one of us while we were in there. He's like, yeah, I'm at the front. Like, come meet me up here. And we just made him wait for like a good hour, bro. And yeah, we enjoyed like the peaking of the acid at the zoo. And then after that, we met Dylan out front, went back to our homie's house for like an hour. And then after that, we all split up and went back home. And by the time I got home, the acid was kind of like wearing off a bit. It definitely wasn't worn off. I definitely still felt it, but I was not like peak tripping like I was at the zoo. And I got home and my mom was sitting at the kitchen table, which was weird because she wasn't supposed to be home from work yet. She got home every night between like 8 and like 9:30. So the fact she was home at like, I think it was 7 was weird. And she goes, where were you? And I was like, at school. She goes, Austin, your school does not let you stay after until 7 o'clock. And also, I called your school when I got home and didn't see you here, and they said you didn't stay after. In fact, they said that you and a bunch of others missed the last few periods of school, so you were skipping. And my dumb ass was just like, why are you home so early? And she goes, I got out early today, okay? Now answer my question. Why were you skipping? And I was like, I don't know. I felt like it. I don't have a good excuse. And she's like, there is no excuse. If you skip again, you're getting moved to a different school. You can say goodbye to all your shitty friends that are influencing this behavior. So yeah, maybe don't skip again. And I definitely didn't want to get moved to another school because at this point I'd been to quite a few schools. So definitely didn't want to do that. But I skipped 2 days later. So yeah, luckily she didn't move me after I skipped again, but I did end up getting moved to a different school like a few months down the line because I just kept skipping and the school was like, all right, if you're not going to come, you're getting moved to a different school. But anyway, yeah, my mom basically told me, keep skipping, you're going to get moved. And she never did it herself, but the school did. And she just kept grounding me. I got grounded for like a good month and a half after this. It wasn't fun. But luckily, I still had like an old laptop in my closet, so I used that to make YouTube videos for that whole like month and a half period I was grounded. So yeah, your boy was definitely dedicated to them uploads. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much the end of today's story time. Definitely a crazy one, all around funny one. I look back on it and I think, yo, what would have happened if Dylan touched that monkey? I think he would have actually gotten his ass beat. I think all the monkeys would have gotten together and jumped Dylan. So yeah, there's definitely a couple morals to this story. Number one, just don't do anything that I talked about in the story time. For your own safety and well-being, just please don't. And number two, which is essentially just number one again, but if you're ever at a zoo, don't try and sneak in the enclosures. That's just dumbass behavior. But yeah, guys, that is the end of today's story time. I hope you enjoyed it. Definitely one of my favorites. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below and subscribe if you're new. I will see you all later. Peace.
I'm in a bad mood, I can see it today. I remember all my friends and now I'm all that remains. I got some bad news, gotta go, I can't stay.